Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to treat the absolutely brutal life cycle of a Komodo dragon like the ultimate unforgiving video game survival guide. I mean, if you think human life can be tough, just wait until you see the absolute gauntlet these incredible creatures have to run just to make it to adulthood. We're going to break down their life stages and map out exactly what it takes to beat the odds out there on Komodo Island. Okay, let's dive right into this by imagining your very first moments of life. Picture this. You hatch in a hole tucked away deep in the dirt, and it feels exactly like a sweltering sauna with absolutely zero exits. You crack open that eggshell and, you might naturally be wondering, hey, where's mom? Well, she's not there. You are entirely on your own from the very first second you open your eyes. And here is the truly wild part. In the Komodo dragon world, your parents, and even your older siblings, aren't there to welcome you. They are literally out to eat you.
So here are the 5 stages to beating those insane odds. First, escape the nest. 2, survive the canopy. 3, master the ground. 4, claim your territory. And finally, stage 5, the final battle.
All right, let's jump in. Level 1, escape the nest. This is your spawn point, and there is absolutely zero tutorial to help you figure things out. Step 1, you hatch. Step 2, before you even think about taking a deep breath of fresh air, you have to scramble up the nearest tree like your life depends on it. Because, well, it literally does. You have to get vertical and fast so the adults patrolling the dirt below don't turn you into a bite-sized snack. Seriously, to a fully grown Komodo dragon, a freshly hatched baby is basically a free McNugget. Which brings us to Level 2, survive the canopy.
So phew, you made it up the tree. You can finally take a breath. But you definitely can't get comfortable, because for your first few months, you are stuck living high up in the branches, just clinging for dear life. But you aren't totally defenseless. You actually have a built-in invisibility cloak. Thanks to your molted brown and green scales, you blend seamlessly into the leaves and the bark. You survive using this natural camouflage to hide from your own kin patrolling below. It's kind of like dodging wizards, just, without needing to go to Hogwarts. It's all about staying entirely out of sight. And while you're up there, you're on a very strict diet. The tree diet is honestly like a college student's diet during finals week, just scavenging whatever you can possibly find. We're talking insects, small lizards, maybe a bird that's just a little too slow. But you have to stick to this strict no-ground diet, because the ground floor is essentially a 50-story skyscraper filled with zombie-like relatives trying to eat anything that moves. Every single meal you catch in that canopy is a victory, and every day you don't fall out of that tree is an even bigger win.
Okay, moving right along to Level 3, master the ground.
You see, you can't stay in the trees forever. You're growing, and eventually you have to face the real world down below. Now, transitioning to the dangerous ground is terrifying. Taking those wobbly first steps is kind of like a toddler learning to walk, but with literal life-or-death stakes. It's basically hardcore Minecraft in real life. Remember, mom isn't going to swoop in and show you the ropes. You have to learn to stalk prey with your heart absolutely pounding, entirely through trial and error. Your early hunts are basically high-stakes games of hide and seek. You lie in the underbrush watching meals scuttle by, or worse, watching them get stolen by a bigger show-off dragon. And on top of all that, you have to survive intense sibling rivalry with the brothers and sisters who hatched right alongside you.
But then, it happens. You finally nail your first successful hunt on the ground. And to a growing dragon, catching that first substantial meal is literally like winning the lottery of lizards and rats. When you get that first taste of real success, your confidence just surges. You start exploring further from your safety tree, pushing your boundaries, and honestly, you kind of start acting like the reptilian version of a rebellious teenager. You're getting more skilled, way more daring, and a whole lot less likely to end up as someone else's dinner.
Next up, Level 4. Claim your territory.
So, you've survived the gauntlet of youth, and now you're transitioning into a full-fledged adult. The absolute most crucial point of reaching adulthood is figuring out how to claim a piece of a very, very crowded island. Finding territory is exactly like scoring the last available seat at a sold-out concert. It takes luck, it takes strategy, and it definitely takes a fight. It's kind of like moving out of your parents' basement, except, as we covered, they never had a basement and they actively tried to eat you. You might roam from miles of rugged terrain just to find the perfect spot, only to find a dragon twice your size already living there. And negotiation? Yeah, that isn't an option. It almost always ends in a brutal fight.
But let's say you win. You claim your spot. Once you secure your territory, your entire lifestyle changes and it all revolves around the number 1. You become an incredibly efficient predator. You don't waste energy chasing small snacks anymore. Instead, you lie in wait. You're perfectly camouflaged, relying on just immense patience. You stalk deer, wild boars, or even massive water buffalo. And you do all this for just one massive, successful meal a week.
And man, when you finally take down that huge prey, you feast like an absolute king. But what comes next is truly relatable. After you eat a meal that sustains you for days, you slip into the ultimate food coma. It's a deep, energy-conserving sleep that makes your average Thanksgiving nap look like a quick 2-minute power snooze. Your days just become a routine of patrolling, hunting once a week, and sleeping. Just lots and lots of sleep.
Now, at around 7 to 10 years old, you reach full maturity, and this kicks off the ultimate dating game. If you're a male, you have to prove your size, your strength, and your survival skills to the females, which means fighting off fierce rivals. And those rivals, they might literally be your own brothers waiting in line. If you're a female, once you've successfully mated, your job is to find a spot, bury your eggs deep in the dirt to protect them, and then simply walk away. You leave the next generation to fend for themselves, starting the exact same brutal cycle that you just survived. I mean, just look at how hard you fought. From hatching on day 1, clinging to branches for months, claiming territory by year 10, to finally approaching the end game at year 15. You have earned every single notch on your scales. You've transitioned from relying on quick reflexes to relying on pure strength, and eventually, deep wisdom and experience.
Which brings us to level 5, the final battle.
This is our final boss stage. It's the harsh reality of aging in an unforgiving jungle where absolutely no one gets to rule forever. Reaching 15 years old in the wild is a massive accomplishment. To put that into perspective, for a Komodo dragon, hitting 15 is roughly the equivalent of a human making it into their 90s with all their teeth intact. It is incredibly rare. But at this age, your muscles aren't quite as strong, and that explosive speed just isn't what it used to be. And, you always knew this day would come. A fast, relentless young dragon arrives to take your territory. And the tragic irony of the whole Komodo life cycle? Because Komodos are such distant parents, this eager, aggressive challenger might actually be your own son. Because you're slower now and rely on wisdom rather than brute force, this heartbreaking, inevitable fight against a younger, faster opponent marks the beginning of the end. You dig deep, right? You use every trick you've learned over 15 years, but every single blow from the challenger feels just a little bit harder than the last. In the end, the balance of power shifts. Whether you barely manage to drive the challenger away one last time, or you're forced to retreat to the fringes of your territory, battered and broken, reality sets in. The jungle is a harsh place, and it's going to continue with or without you. You eventually find a quiet, sunny spot to rest, somewhere safe from the constant, exhausting struggle for survival, as the sheer weight of time just presses down on you.
As you lie down, feeling the warmth of the sun on your scales, you close your eyes for the last time. And as this beautifully poetic quote from our source material reminds us, the world keeps turning, the cycle continues, and somewhere out there, a new dragon is hatching. The cycle returns right back to where we started, in the sweltering dirt, ready for the next player to start level 1. I want to leave you with this final thought on the brutal, beautiful, and highly efficient life cycle we've just explored today. In a world where survival literally requires outlasting your own family from the very day you hatch, is the greatest victory simply living long enough to make room for the next generation? Think about that next time you feel like you're navigating a tough level in your own life. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep staying curious.